Right, we'll dip enough into the season to judge how Premier League teams have been doing. Some of these performances have been shocking, so I decided to create a tier list and ranking all the 20 Premier League teams this season based on the expectations we had, and this is what they're currently doing. So stay till the end of the video because some of these rankings are gonna be controversial. So let's get into it. So here are the categories. So the top seasons, it's clubs who are exceeding what we thought they could achieve, or they're achieving what we thought they could achieve a season. So they're on the right track. They're a solid season. They're doing not bad. They're doing decent. They're not below, but they're just fair on the expectation. There is underwhelming. They could do better, so that they could do better this season. There's disappointing season. They're really below the expectation we had for them. And then there is disaster season. Nothing is going for them, and they're really not exceeding their expectation. So let's start directly with Brentford. Brentford, a team that honestly I expected to go down this season. For me, I thought that they would struggle this season. I thought that losing Thomas Frank will be a huge letdown for them. But no, this club has proved that it has core structures that with or without any manager, they have been working well in the recent years. And I love this type of clubs that really work well, that invest in data, that invest in proper people also to run the clubs, because you can feel that whether they had chosen another manager or even their decision to promote Keith Andrews has been excellent. So for me, Brentford, I would even go to saying that they're having a solid season. They have the second best striker in the league in Igor Thiago. What a success, has turned to be the replacement of Ivan Toney. They have lost Brian Mbeumo and they have replaced him really well with Dango Ouattara. Dango Ouattara, he's looking really good. He has scored a few goals in the Premier League. Players like Kevin Shade are becoming even better. Players like Jordan Henderson, again, they have really replaced well their captain Norgard. They went for even a better player. Jordan Henderson is still showing his class in the league. I think they have upgraded also in terms of goalkeeper. They lost Flecken and they went for Kelleher for a reasonable price. They have the likes of Michael Coyote who are becoming even better, who are showing great things at a young age. For me, I think they're really having a solid season. For me, Brentford, I'm gonna put them in solid season. I think they're, let me check on the table. They're 13th. If they win, they arrive on the same number of points as Liverpool. So for me, again, I think they're having a solid season. They could finish in the first half of the table, and that's not something I expected for them to reach. Another team that is really doing well and it's excelling, it's Aston Villa. Honestly, Villa, they had that shambles of a transfer window this summer. It didn't really go well for them. They only bought, I think, Evan Gesson. In the last few hours, they woke up and bought Elliott, which they haven't even played him a lot. So the person that paid for all that was Monchi. So Monchi paid for that because he lost his job. They had to change something because nothing was going for Villa this summer. And honestly, slowly by slowly, they're back on track. They're third in the Premier League, if I'm not wrong. They're third in the Premier League, eight wins already. So for me, I think they're having a really solid season. Not a top season because, again, during matches, there's still things that we haven't seen. We haven't seen more of Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers is still shy. I expect him this season to become really not just a great Premier League prospect, but to become one of the top English players in the Premier League. That's why I expected Ollie Watkins to become even better, to score those goals. But no, I think there are still few things missing in that Villa team, but they have shown great things. We just also have to remember that Yuri Tielemans have missed a lot of games, but players like Amadou Onana have showed great things. They're becoming even better and better, and they also have the Europa League where I think they'll really look dangerous. I don't think I would be fool to say that I think Unai Emery could win another Europa League. So for me, in the Premier League, honestly, given the squad that they have and what happened this summer, I think they're slowly having a solid season, honestly. And the next team I want to talk about is Manchester City. Honestly, as an Arsenal fan, I would be really scared about this Manchester City team, because if Manchester City is not on at least at 10, 11, 12 points behind you in January, then you gotta count them in the title race. You gotta count them in the title race. Haaland is back scoring goals. He's looking even, I don't know, each day he looks even better. Even when he doesn't score, he looks involved in the game. He's giving assists over here and over. Manchester City, I still think they're a bit sick. I don't think the City that we knew is fully back, but I think in the second half of this of the season they could go and win 10 Premier League games in a row. They have done that, and honestly, with the last Premier League experience that I have, what I have watched Manchester City doing, I wouldn't be shocked. This is a good Premier League side. They have a competent goalkeeper now. They have a striker scoring goals. They have the likes of Phil Foden who are back. Foden also is a big addition to this City, because last season he literally didn't exist. You can say it. Jeremy Doku is potentially the best left winger in the league. You know, the likes of Nico Gonzalez are becoming even better. They still have Rodri to add to this squad. For me, I think the only thing that wouldn't make Manchester City win, it's maybe their defense. But for example, Arsenal, we're going to talk about them later. Arsenal are losing their defenders, getting injured. For me, City could come back really and win the Premier League again. I still think City need the right back. I think they need an extra defender, you know, playing there a midfield. I don't think it's the right move for them going forward. But honestly, attention to Manchester City, because I wouldn't be shocked in May if Man City are in the title race. So for me, I still think they are a bit sick. They are a bit inconsistent. For example, we saw their last game against Fulham. They almost lost again. I think there's still flaws in this City side, but I think they're having a solid season. What about Arsenal? Arsenal for now, the league leaders with 33 points, only one defeat. It's funny because that defeat came against Liverpool, which are a sick team, honestly. And everything is going well for Arsenal. Again, the best defensive team in the league, the second best offensive team in the league. I think Arsenal are having a top season. I think we all expected them to be at this level. I still think when I watch their games that there is some things that don't work, but I see Mikel Arteta trying to find the solutions. I always see Mikel Arteta trying to find the adjustments. So for me, I still think Arsenal will or can get better in the second half of the season. So let's see what they can do. But I still think where the difference with Manchester City, I don't think Manchester City will go very far in the Champions League, but I still think Arsenal will do a great Champions League run. And that will take energy, that will take players you have seen that they have started getting injured. So let's see on who wins the Premier League. This is, I think, will be an interesting battle, honestly. But for now, yeah, they're having a top season, nothing to say. Ebere Eze comes in, hat-trick in the North London Derby. Christian Mosquera has looked as if he had been playing for Arsenal for years. Who else? Incapi has been solid. Zubimendi, solid signing. Victor Gyökeres has scored some goals. Noni Madueke has been exciting on his right way. I don't think there's nothing going wrong for Arsenal right now, apart in the game. Brighton, this is another team that are having a good season quietly, that it's going under the radar, because we know Fabian Husserl's intention. We know that he likes that possession-based football. With the squad they have, honestly, I think he's doing well. They're, again, in the table, they're 7th. Only 4 defeats this season. Yes, they are inconsistent, but this is the youngest Premier League team in the league. So I expect them to be inconsistent with the amount of young players they have. But again, young players are progressing. They're winning. They're competing for European football. So for me, they're having, honestly, a solid season. Yes, in the game, it's not always perfect, but they're having a good season. Players like Yankubu Mite are having good season. I expect them even to become better. Player like Danny Welbeck, banging goals again. Player like Yassine Ayari, for me, has also shown great promises in midfield. So let's keep an eye on Brighton. I think they're having a solid season. Another team that I don't think is having a top season is Tottenham. Tottenham, honestly, they have been a bit disappointing this season, but I also expected it. Because I've seen on Twitter a lot of fans bashing the work of Thomas Frank, saying, "Oh, Thomas Frank, he's good. He has been a good coach for a smaller club. He can manage a bigger club." But guys, honestly, let's give him time. Let's give him time. He's coming into a team that finished 17th last season, and he said it. I like that he said it. He's coming also into a team that have new players around. So why don't we just give him time? And honestly, when I'm looking what he has been doing, it's not that bad. Tottenham are becoming again a hardworking team. They have changed the way they play completely. It will take time. Thomas Frank won't come in and start winning the league in his first season. That's not how it's worked, you know. I've seen more blame on Thomas Frank than, for example, Arne Slot. When I watched Tottenham, yes, they have been not that great, but for example, when I watched Liverpool, I think they are really worse, you know. I would like to see a match between Tottenham and Liverpool, by the way. But let's stay on Tottenham. Not Tottenham, they don't have a left winger. Thomas Frank needed absolutely a left wing, and I think a left winger will unlock his method and what he wants to do with this first team. They haven't signed a left winger during the summer, but that's not just an excuse. That's just the reality. That left wing zone at Tottenham is really a dead zone. He has tried to adjust, play Xavi Simons, I've seen even Lucas Bergvall playing on that left midfielder role. So I still think Tottenham will compete for European places. I still expect them to compete, but it's true that they have had, for me, I will not put them in disappointing season that as everyone expects. I expected them to struggle this year. It's a transitional season, so for me, I'll put them in underwhelming. If just the content would have been better, then there won't be any problem, but I think it's the content that's not really good, and I think they have also to win a lot more duels, because when I checked for Tottenham, you see they're winning 45% of their duels. That's a massive problem. I think they should be winning a lot way more duels, with also the height they have in their defense. They have excellent defenders in Van de Ven, Romero, Kevin Danso, also Jade Spence, also who's a great defensive fullback. So I think they should be doing better defensively. So let's see how the season goes for Tottenham. What about Burnley? Honestly, Burnley, I think everyone expected them to go down again. I still think it's lack of Premier League quality, and for me, the most complicated thing is that they lost their backbone last season, which made them win also the championship, which was their defense, James Trafford and Egan Riley. They should honestly have kept Trafford, because now he's not even playing a lot at City. So they lost James Trafford, they lost Egan Riley. So for me, I didn't expect them, you know, to do a miracle by staying up in the Premier League. They have shown great things. I remember their game against Manchester United, for example. I remember their game against Liverpool. They haven't been, you know, for me, they haven't been the worst Premier League team. You know, they can still fight and stay up. They have gotten, for example, 3 wins, which is the same thing as West Ham. West Ham will have a way better squad. So for me, Burnley, I think they have been. Do I put them in disaster season? Though I'll put them in disappointing, but not disaster, because I think really they're doing what they can do with their means. And honestly, I feel for Scott Parker, because I believe he's a great coach, you know. The next player I want to talk about, oh guys, this will be controversial, Liverpool. First, when I was thinking about this idea of video, I thought Liverpool was the first club for me, I was thinking in the disaster season. That's the first club, because Premier League champions who are having a season like this, it's, for me, I've never seen that. That's a terrible Premier League defending what they're doing. But let's analyze them. Let me try to also look the good side, because when I judge Liverpool, I'm so hard that I don't look the good side. The good side is that this Liverpool team, yes, they're 9th, but they're only 3 points. They're at 22 points. At 25, they would be top 4. You know, they're only at 3 points of the top 4. This Liverpool team, they are still winning a lot of duels. Probably the team that wins the most duels after Manchester City. They're working hard. They're still working hard. So this Liverpool team, They have won also, I think, six. They have won more games than lost. They have won 7 games this season. They're not a drawing team. Huh? Yeah, this Liverpool team, we can all agree that we expected them to be a lot better than this season, especially with the money on Arne Slot is disappointing. And I think the only thing that will change their final ranking will be to change a manager. For me, I have said it a lot of times. Arne Slot is not the man for the job. Arne Slot is looking lost. He doesn't know his squad. The young players aren't developing. There is nothing going well at Liverpool. Even the results. The only thing saving him is that it could be worse. That's the only thing. We can only say it could be worse, but there is nothing good I can say about Liverpool. Young players, again, are not developing. Rio Ngumoha, you haven't signed a left winger, so you expected Rio Ngumoha to get game time, to get even better, to become Premier League player, but you're not giving him game time. You're not using well your squad. Players like Federico Chiesa, Wataru Endo, Joe Gomez, all these players have proved you that they can be reliable, but you don't want to rely on them. We can also talk about the content of the game. There is nothing. There is no tactics. You are 125 million striker Alexander Isak is isolated up front only. There is nothing. I can't even tell you the structure. I can't tell you what Arne Slot is trying to do because it's not visible. And as much as I would say that I thought this season would be a transitional season, I predicted Arsenal to win the league easily, but I thought Liverpool would fight. I thought they would be in that fight, but looking at how they play, what they're doing, they're even nowhere near a team like Arsenal. Arsenal are miles better than Liverpool. So for me, that's a disappointing season. You could expect much more, especially also with the money they spend. Let's say it, with the money Liverpool spend, they must be doing better. And the first thing to do better for me is to change the manager. Bring in a manager with ideas, bring in a manager with a clear way to play football. If not, they're gonna waste this season. Another team that has a manager that I think he's controversial, Enzo Maresca, because I've seen some critics on Enzo Maresca, but for me, I still think he's a great coach. I still think the reason Chelsea are doing well in the league because Chelsea are top 4 right now in the league. They have only lost 4 games. For me, I think it's Enzo Maresca because look at the Chelsea defense. Look at the squad he has. Yes, they buy players every summer, every transfer. They buy 10 players, but he has a young squad. He has a squad of young players. I think it's the second youngest team after Brighton, if I'm not wrong. So for me, what they're doing it's good. It's good. I expected Chelsea to be in that top 3 battle. I expected them to battle with Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City for the title. And honestly, they're doing it. I think with more experience, with a competent goalkeeper, with more experience in defense, I think Chelsea could compete with Arsenal. So I don't get the critics around Enzo Maresca, especially that he's tactically flexible. He has shown it. For example, the game against Arsenal, look at the game against Barcelona. He's developing young players, a player like William Estevao. Wow, that's also something positive about the Premier League. A player like William Estevao, for real, who's gonna be a future Ballon d'Or. We can all see the talent is there, the personality. You can see he will win a Ballon d'Or. And also, let's not forget that they hadn't their best player in Cole Palmer. So for me, Chelsea, they're having a solid season, honestly. What about Crystal Palace? Crystal Palace, top team, I think, in the league this season. One of the most reliable teams. You know that they'll go get points. They're, I think, top 5. Yeah, top 5. Only 3 losses this season, and they're also juggling it between that and also the Conference League. So I think Crystal Palace, honestly, are having a solid season, and everyone expected them to fight, but again, they're exceeding their expectations. So for me, I'll put them in solid season. Maybe there is a lack of creativity with the loss of Ebere Eze, which is a normal, who is a top player, but still Mateta is scoring in the top scorers in the league. Daniel Munoz is becoming even better on his right flank. Players like Justin Divine are becoming better. They are more trusted. Adam Wharton is becoming even way better. Players like Eddie Nketiah are coming in and scoring goals. For me, Palace, no, they're having a solid season. Another team that's honestly having a season that's a bit of a mix of good and bad. For me, it's Everton. Everton, they have a squad that I thought they could be doing better. And I think at some games they have shown that they are a good Premier League side. I think they have shown that you can count on them. They have exciting players, honestly. A player like Iliman Ndiaye for me has been the best, most entertaining winger to watch in the league, maybe after Jeremy Doku. Great player in Iliman Ndiaye. Players like Kieran Dashbilly has got more importance. James Garner getting even better. They have been solid this season. They are what? I think they are 10th. Yeah, 10th. Only 3 points. 3 points separate them from a team like Chelsea. So for me, Everton have won games that they should have been winning, but they also have lost games that we expected them to win. So for me, I'll put them in underwhelming. I still miss something, especially during the games. There's still something missing in their team. But I believe in the second half of the table they could again become even better, and why not fight for that top table finish. Also, guys, what do you think about Jack Grealish? A player that I really like. Again, he's proving that he's made for this club. He's made to play for a people club. He's not made to go play for those big clubs like City. He's made for really these top teams. He has got his football back. Top assist in the league, I think, with 4 assists. Scores goals. For me, I think Everton, they're having I'll put them in the underwhelming right now because they haven't had a solid season yet. But at the end of the season, depending on where they finish, I could rank them in solid season. The next team I want to talk about is Fulham. So Fulham, how do I rank Fulham? How do I rank Fulham? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. If there is any Fulham fans, I would like to hear them. Because for me, I think they're having a disappointing season. I expected much more from Marco Silva, but is it because Marco Silva has always proved me wrong? Also in all those seasons where I expected Fulham to go down, and he has kept them consistently in the league. I don't know where to judge this, because they've got like Brazilian winger Kevin, paid quite a lot of money, Samuel Chukwueze, but I haven't seen great things from Fulham as a team this season. Players like Iwobi are great. A player like Josh King is becoming really better also, but I think there's still something missing in that attack. For me, Raul Jimenez had given me a great season last season. I thought he would be back. But yeah, overall as a team, I think they're having a disappointing season. I think you could have expected them to be doing much better than what they're doing. In the league, they're 15th, 15th. They're playing Palace next. Nah, they should be fighting for relegation. So for me, Fulham are not doing what they should be doing, and you see it's the team that wins the less duels in the league. They're winning few aerial duels. There's a problem with that defense, So for me, I expect much more about Fulham. So for me, they're disappointing. Another team that might be in the disappointing category is Bournemouth, but Bournemouth, I won't put them in the disappointing category because they've got a new squad completely from last season. And if you had asked me this question, if I had recorded this video 3 weeks ago, I would have put them in solid season or even top season. So for me, Bournemouth right now, because if you watch the league table, they're 14th. Yes, they're on a terrible run with no wins in the last 5 games. But I don't forget that this team is a young team. It's a new team also. Antonio Rivera got a new defense, got new players all over the place, and I still think they have started the season well, and I think they will get better. They have seen interesting things. Again, we're talking about the team with the most recoveries. We're talking about the team with the best. Where are they? 619. We're talking about the team with the most recoveries, the most hardworking team in the league. I think they will become better. I expect them to become better in the second part of the season, and I think maybe also selling a player like Antoine Semenyo will open places for more players. Like, for example, Justin Kluivert has been a substitute recently. A player like Elie Junior Kopi. I've talked about Elie Junior Kopi since day one. I've told you that Elie Junior Kopi is a generational talent, and now he's proving it in the Premier League, scoring goals on goals. He will become even better. I think selling Antoine Semenyo and letting players like Junior Kopi, like Amin Adli, like Ben Doak, I think will benefit them, because I still think there is a lot of players in those offensive roles, but they don't all get game time. Evanilson has been out of form, and Sunari is coming back, so I expect them to finish higher than the place they are right now. So for me, I'll put them in underwhelming, but I still think Andoni Iraola will turn this around because he has shown us that he's a great coach. Another team that, can I say that they have been underwhelming? It's Leeds. Leeds, I'll put them in disappointing, and I feel for Leeds because I still think they try to show great things when they get promoted to the league, but again, the gap in quality is huge. Their coach Daniel Farke, for me, hasn't really shown me the things also I saw from Leeds in the Championship last season. I expect more energy, something to click in the league. Still, their striker are scoring goals. Lucas Mecha is scoring goals. Dominic Calvert Lewin also banging them goals. So I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds stay up, honestly. But for now, for me, I would say overall they are disappointing. They were 17th. You know, they were on a bad run. But guess who they play next? Liverpool. I predict Leeds to win against Liverpool. Another team that has been promoted and honestly they're having a solid season is Sunderland. I think this is fair to say that they're having even more than a solid season. They're having a top season. Without even adapt what Regis Lebris is doing at that Sunderland team is massive. I'm seeing a team that combative, a team that is hungry for more, a team that's not complete. They don't seem to think that they're inferior to other teams, and that's what I've been asking for many Premier League promoted teams. I don't think they have an incredible squad. No, they have a good squad. They have both great players, but you know they don't have the best squad coming from the Championship we've seen, but still they're fighting and they're getting honestly they're getting their points, because Sunderland are what? They're 6 at 23 points, you know. Only 3 defeats this season. So what Regis Lebris is doing is really special. Like the players of like Ruben Loftus, Daniel Ballant in defense, Arthur Masuaku, who's come back in the Premier League, also great in defense. We're talking about players like Noah Sadiki, an absolutely great midfielder, the N'Golo Kante of Sunderland, or covering the pitch like crazy. Granit Xhaka, of course, is showing his class. What a player, by the way. I would be curious to see where we will rank Granit Xhaka at the end of his career, because the career he's had, honestly, I still think he's a bit underrated. Player like Chemsendin Tarbi, who's coming in this Sunderland team, of course it had to be him. Of course, last season, if you watched my channel for last season, I put him in one of my preferred talents to watch. He was playing at Bruges and he came in the Premier League. I said that keep an eye on Chemsendin Tarbi, and this guy scored against Liverpool, my team. That's hilarious. So for me, I think they're having a top season if they manage somehow to finish in that top 6 area, to maybe to play Europe. For me, I think that would be incredible. So for now, they're having a top season. What about Manchester United, guys? Manchester United, they're difficult to judge because they started the season really bad and they become better. They went on a good run. I think 4 wins in a row. They went on a 4 wins in a row run, and then I think they started to stagnate. They're a bit inconsistent, but Ruben Amorim still continued to persist with his 3-4-3. For me, I still think this cannot work. I don't think it's adapted. I think it can work, but it's not adapted to that Manchester United squad. At least players like Mbeumo have come in and slot in really well. Player like Matheus Cunha has come in and looked really well also, but I still think they lack a midfielder. I still think playing Bruno Fernandes there, it's not the ideal solution. For me, honestly, they're having an underwhelming season. I still think it would be a good season for them if they can play Champions League football next season. So if they finish top 5, I still think it's a good season for them. But I expect more with the money they spend in the transfer. I expect way more with the squad they have. They should be doing better. Another team that should be doing better is Newcastle. Yes, Newcastle have lost their best player this summer. Yes, Newcastle, they had that terrible transfer window, honestly. What happened, their situation, but honestly, the players they bought have slotting in really well. We can talk about Nick Vostemade. We talked about him on this channel. Nick Vostemade, big fan. What he's doing in the Premier League is really great. He's shown that he can come from Bundesliga and adapt well in the Premier League as a striker. So people say Malik Cho, for me, has looked incredible. I think that's, for me, their best signing this summer. For me, he has been really great, and I think he has already took a place as a starter. Malik Cho, what a great player. They have had great performances also from players like Sandro Tonali, who's probably the best midfielder in the league right now. Bruno Guimaraes always looking great. I still think Eddie Howe is the right man for the job. I've seen critics around. For me, if you don't manage to keep Eddie Howe, that would be one of the most terrible things Newcastle can do. I still think he's the man for the job. I still think he will turn this around, but for now, they're having a disappointing season. But I expect them to be better with the comeback of Johan Risa in the second half of the season, with the squad knowing more each other. I still think Newcastle will turn this around, and this position they have, 12th, I don't think will. That's how it will end. What about Nottingham Forest? For me, Nottingham Forest, can't you put them in disaster season? Honestly, Nottingham Forest, with the squad they have, with what Marignakis has done this season, already 3 coaches were not even in January. I think they're having a disaster class. The only chance they have is that they have appointed Sean Dyche earlier in the season, and he'll be able to save them. Right now they're 16. They're 16th at 15 points. They can still be saved. He has found his striker in Igor Jesus. When you have a player like Elliot Anderson, you can't go down Elliot Anderson. They play with, again, the most progressive passes in the league, the most touches in the league. We're talking about a top player. We're talking about the starting number 8 of England at the World Cup. They have players like Murillo at the backs, Sels, Milinkovic. Honestly, they have a good squad to have this poor season they were having, but I think their owner really set them up for failure for this season. But let's see what Sean Dyche can cook. But for now, honestly, they're having a disaster season. Nothing is going out. Chris Wood is not really good. The situation with Morgan Rogers, I don't know. For me, disaster season for now, especially the fact they had 3 coaches already. What about West Ham? West Ham, I think they're easily also in disaster season. What are they doing? What have they been doing this season? For honestly, the fact that West Ham are in the relegation zone with the squad they have, with the quality they have, also we're talking about a team that have, for example, a player like Bowen, a player like Paqueta, but still nothing is going them. But they are also lucky because they have now a competent coach in Nuno Espirito Santo. But for Nuno Espirito Santo, I'm worried he might even not be able to turn this around, because there is really a gap in the squad building they have been doing this summer. I still think there is a lot of missing. I think some players, there is mentality issues. For example, a player like Paqueta. What do you do with a player like Paqueta, who I still think, honestly, he's still betting on games? So I don't know, man. This team is a shambles, honestly. What they have been doing in the league, what they have been doing in the league, they're not winning any duels. I don't know. They're the least hardworking team in the league. I don't know. For me, West Ham, they're having a disaster season. This goes without saying. Also, Wolves, I will all agree that they should be doing better. I don't think, unfortunately, the manager can do anything. All these clubs are failing because of the owners. I don't think the manager has a role to play on their failures, because Wolves, again, Vitor Pereira, I think he did the maximum he could do. It's even a miracle he saved them last season, but I don't think this season they'll be saved. 0 wins this season. They've brought the other coach that coached, I think, Middlesbrough, and still nothing really changed. They maybe a bit better in the game. They've brought in players like Fer Lopez, who are great talents, and they don't have game time. Player like John Arias, I was waiting much more for him. Players like João Gomez, I expect much more, but nothing is going. But these teams, unfortunately, are teams that are being let down by the owners. So guys, let me know your thoughts on these final rankings. I think I've been pretty cool with all the teams. I haven't been really harsh. And let me know your ranking for your favorite team in the Premier League, where you'd rank them, what changes you would make in the final ranking. Also, I would read all the comments. And if you have liked this video, make sure to make me know it by liking this video. And if you are not subscribed yet, subscribe for more football content. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.